This is the United Uprising channel. Welcome to today's show. Davos is right around the corner, the World Economic Forum's annual meeting where a lot of rich people, a lot of celebrities, a lot of people of influence and power get together to, of course, talk about important topics. Or should I say, they get together to talk about how they're going to destroy our lives more and bring in more regulation and control over all of us. And they even let us know. Now, this I thought was a little bit weird because normally when it comes to these big events, yes, these are obviously known. This isn't a secretive thing anymore where they meet at the Bilderberg meetings, Davos, etc. But the fact that the World Economic Forum pinned this on their Twitter account makes me wonder if they have some type of false flag plan. Now, I think we all should obviously at this point realize that they're probably going to create some false flag events around Davoses of the world or around the Bilderbergs or around the Bohemian Grove because it'll just give them more meaning to regulate and censor speech by saying that crazy conspiracy theorists online went to Davos and created some type of an event. Now, we're getting closer to that. They really just laid some things out last year where they had their little Davos military police there and, people who were going there to try to do interviews, etc. We're getting arrested, and all sorts of psyops were kind of happening around that. Again, this will play into the Donald Trump left-right paradigm. This will play into the illusion of people with freedoms as far as researching conspiracies, etc., are really terrorists. This is the mindset they're trying to create because they don't want people to realize what they're really doing at these events, which is plotting, which is committing treason. Any of our government officials who are there are committing treason. And of course, every single person in Congress has a tie-in that goes back to Davos, just like every political leader, including Putin. We've seen Trump there. We've seen Biden there, Barry Obama there. All of these people who should be getting arrested for treason, but nothing ever happened. So it's happening in 2024. They're letting us know on the 15th of January through the 19th. And the theme and the ideas and topics being discussed, I'll get into right now, for this year's meeting is From Lab to Life, Science in Action, or should I just say what it really is, Magic in Action. But of course, everything's in the name of science. Enslavement's going to be in the name of science. They're going to say you can't deny or question the science, which, we kind of just heard, right? Anybody who questioned the science lost their jobs, lost their freedoms. And of course, we're right about everything, continue to be right about everything, but nobody on the other side ever admits to being wrong about everything. Because they'll never admit to being wrong because science can't be questioned. That's just like communism can't be questioned. It's like this communist dictatorship that we call a government, a global government, can't be questioned. So they do it in the name of science. And of course, they'll continue forward with enslaving us in the name of science as they tell us there's a climate issue. Meanwhile, they're manipulating the weather with geoengineering and HARP, etc. But let's take a look at maybe the most blatantly obvious thing on their agenda for 2024 in Davos. You can't make this up. Look at this right there in words. Speaking truth to power, which is a form of witchcraft. Speaking truth to power, manifestation. These are things that are taught and indoctrinated in what they call mystery religions, secret societies, witchcraft and sorcery. So listen to this. Speaking truth to power. Global crises have the potential to divert attention away from climate change, action, and preparedness. Yet we are in the midst of the sixth mass extinction that threatens all life on Earth, and humans are not exempt. Anybody out there paying attention? They just said, and I've covered this in the past with this sixth mass extinction desensitizing people when they're the ones who are currently trying to extinct the human race. You may remember what just occurred a few years ago, where people willingly poisoned themselves, okay? They were trying and are continuing to try to go forward with a mass extinction. So they want to manifest truth to power. And what they're saying is they want to, which is witchcraft right here in front of your face, they want to manifest the sixth mass extinction into power. And they say that this extinction is going to threaten all life on Earth, and humans are not exempt. And this is being discussed with your political leaders. Now, of course, they're going to tell you that it's climate, it's too hot. It's a little bit warmer, it's 1 degree colder Celsius or warmer Celsius, depending on when it fits our narrative better. So don't question if it's global cooling or global warming, because it used to be global cooling, now it's global warming. Whatever time of year it is, whatever fits our narrative, we'll just change it to 1 degree more, 1 degree less. No one's paying attention. And then we'll tell you that we're all going to die, but you won't be suspicious that we're the ones responsible for it. As we all meet here together, we're trying to do what's best for humanity. Stay in your home, lock your doors, throw out your keys, because technology is going to keep you trapped inside your home. And if you try to leave, well, guess what? We're going to shoot you. With what, you ask? Well, with one of our Terminators or one of our drones flying above, or one of those military tanks at the end of the street, because you aren't going to be allowed to leave where you are. So openly talking about the sixth mass extinction is on the agenda this year in Davos as we head towards the Great Reset. All these things being done by these tyrants who are meeting there, the American leaders who are there, and celebrities as well, which I've covered over the years, all guilty of treason, none being arrested. And of course, they're telling you flat out that they're planning on killing you, and none of us are exempt from it, okay? What else do we got on the schedule? Liberating science, a philosophy of openness that has the potential to accelerate breakthroughs in research and technology while directly confronting questions around trustworthiness and bias in science. What can the global scientific community do to promote new forms of collaboration and reproducibility in science to fast track progress? So in other words, what they're talking about there is trustworthiness, is a key word, right? And bias in science. So science, of course, ties now in with trustworthiness and fake news, etc. If you question science, you're not someone who's a trustworthy source because, of course, science can't be questioned, like I said. So one of the things that's important to note with the topic of science and fast-tracking progress is they're going to put all these restrictions and these enslavement protocols in place in the name of science, which everybody needs to know about. And they want you to, of course, not question any of it and to put your trust in the bias in science. So that's an interesting topic. Of course, people hear that. They think they're talking about actual science, right? Because, we know for a fact that they're not talking about actual science, because really the only science that really is unquestionable that exists is the one that they're denying, which is what is a man and what is a woman, right? The most basic thing on earth. So, we need to trust these people, right? So then they go on to say, take a deep breath with technology. 99% of the world's population breathes air that is harmful to their health. With proven links between the climate emergency and air pollution, collective action across industries is needed to address innovative solutions for both crises. What innovative new solutions can be used to accelerate climate action, improve air quality, and health among citizens? So they don't talk about, are they going to talk about the air quality and how it's actually, we're having trouble with the air because of what they're dumping on us from the skies, which would be aluminum and barium and, all sorts of chemicals, graphene, etc., that we're all breathing in. When you find like black goo on your car, like I covered in the past, and they say, well, we don't know what that's from. It's just falling from the sky. Yeah, Oh, it must be from a factory, right? No, of course, it's from chemtrailing and everything else that they do to poison us. And then they want to tell you how they have solutions that can be used to accelerate climate action. So let me translate that for you. The solutions on how they can accelerate your enslavement. The solutions are, well, we have problems with the climate. We have problems with the air. We need to stay inside. Right? And they say, stay inside and put this filter in your home. And that filter, of course, will have graphene and all other things in it. And they'll continue to poison us and keep us enslaved in our prison cells. So another topic being discussed is medicine and women. Can they define a woman? I'd love to hear their definition. From research projects to clinical trials conducted exclusively with men, medical science is only just beginning to explore the importance of a combination of factors from gender to social behaviors and psychological or biological differences in health and medicine. Where is the future of gender research headed, and what are the most promising applications across research, prevention, and care? So again, people hear this stuff, they don't even know what they're talking about. It's like, oh, that sounds okay, interesting, right? They hear the word gender, boom, that pops out. Social behaviors, boom, that pops out. Psychological or biological differences, boom, that pops out. And health and medicine. They don't realize that these same people that think they're intelligent, that understand social behaviors and social conditioning and psychology are actually the ones who are herded and under full-on hive mind psychological warfare. So some of the other topics, again, are all kind of focused around the climate. And then we have a primer on AI. The rapid growth of AI has raised critical questions about the risks and opportunities that technology bring to our daily lives. Given that AI has an impact on our societies and industries, what solutions, dialogue, and education are needed to ensure AI benefits society, upholds ethical standards, and becomes inclusive to all users? Of course, inclusive, another word, mind control word that they use, making AI inclusive. Yeah, we're all going to be inclusive when we're all slaves to technology. Oh, wait, we already are, right? It'll be too late. Everyone will still be fighting amongst each other as far as their pronouns and genders while we're getting tasered to death by artificial intelligence, and our freedoms are all taken away from us, most specifically free speech and the freedom to move about freely because you'll be trapped inside your home. So that won't be discussed, just primer to AIs and, of course, how that ties into gender equality. Then these are the interesting ones to note. Cracking the code, navigating cybersecurity. Listen to this. According to the WEF, World Economic Forum's 2023 Global Cybersecurity Outlook, 43% of organizational leaders think it is likely that in the next 2 years, a cyber attack will materially affect their organization. How can we foster innovation and cooperation to ensure preparedness against increasingly sophisticated cyber threats caused by extensive collaboration among cyber criminal networks, their adoption of emerging techs? So who are these cyber criminal networks? Oh, right. This would be the CIA, the FBI, M16, I mean, all the intel agencies around the world, right? They're the real networks of criminals. Of course, they could arrest anybody at any time if they wanted to. They're spying on us 24/7. So if there's really a network of criminals, they would have been taken care of, but there's not. So what this is telling you, and last year I covered this where they openly were talking about how there's definitely going to be a cyber attack. I've warned about it for about a decade. I'll continue warning about it. This is how the reset's going to work. With the cyber attack, they've been prepping us and conditioning us for one. When you wake up and your bank account's at zero, okay, don't be surprised because your neighbor's is going to be at zero too. Everybody's is going to be. And there's your inclusion and equality for all when everybody's bank accounts are reset. Now, these are the same people who are talking about the Great Reset and how we're going to own nothing and be happy. How do people think we're going to get there? Okay, the banks all work with the World Economic Forum and the globals. They all work together. It's one and the same. So all they need is a fake cyber attack, blame it on the boogeyman, which is what they're planning on doing. They'll blame it on Russia. They'll blame it on China, something that's completely out of reach for humans to do anything about it. And then the next thing will be, all right, I guess we all have nothing now. We have to work together to form a community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the mind control, it's all in place, right? Leave the world behind. All these movies that keep coming out. They've told us over and over again that it's happening. So they're telling us here, which is hilarious. So they say, 43% of organizational leaders think that it's likely in the next 2 years. Oh, yeah. It's likely because they're the ones writing the script. They are the cyber threat and the cyber attack. And I've emphasized this over and over again about the Great Reset, about owning nothing and being happy. All it takes is a temporary grid shutdown. You shut it down for 3 months to 6 months. And people out there are like, they'll never do that because the mind control will break. No, it won't break. Chaos will ensue because people won't know where to get food or water from because they're brain dead and they haven't prepared themselves. So people will turn on one another. There will be nothing but chaos ensuing. Then when the grid comes back on and they can usher in martial law or whatever it might be, then everybody, when they get back online, will see that everything's been reset to zero. Does that sound easy enough? Because that's the way it's likely going to go. How do people think we're going to go to zero? They think the stock market's going to go down to zero. Everything's just going to shut off. And when it comes back on, they're going to say everything was wiped out. All bank accounts were wiped out. Everybody's was wiped out. No matter how much money you had saved up in the bank, it's now all gone. It was all digital. But now we need we'll make sure this doesn't happen again with a new digital, having everything at digital currency, etc. Not digital banking, digital currency. And all this stuff will live inside your body. Thus, it won't be able to be hacked. But the irony of it all is it will be able to be hacked because they'll be actually hacking into your body because they'll be hacking into your genetic code. So these are the topics that are being discussed. In addition to on thin ice, the consequence of climate breakdown, where again, they start warning about the first major component of the Earth's system, which has been breached, the Arctic summer sea ice. This was last year they discussed that, what actions are needed to appropriately respond to the increasing climate volatility unlocked at the poles. Okay, does anyone out there not get it yet? The action that they want is you to not leave your house, okay? You're a carbon-based life form. You're the carbon that they want to prevent and stop and kill and destroy. So they're going to make you enslaved in your home. What do you think the answer is going to be? It's changing your way of life. It starts with, oh, monitor your behavior. We're going to track your behavior. You can't buy this much stuff. Everybody has to chip into their carbon foot. Oh, okay. And everybody thinks it's just this little thing. And then just like with everything else, just like when a certain group of people want to get married, well, now that certain group of people want literally to lap dance your kids in school. Okay, the same thing will occur with this. They'll be desensitized. It'll start off with, hey, just buy one less chicken a week. Oh, okay. Now don't buy any meat. Oh, okay. Now don't do this. Now don't leave your house for this long. Oh, okay. Next thing you know, you're in prison in your home and you've given up all your rights to the carbon footprint. That's what it's about. And they'll be discussing the carbon footprint, of course. So the last thing of note is turning back the clock, the science of aging. That's the last thing they have discussed here on their agenda, which will be Friday the 19th, which should just call it Friday the 13th because it sounds horrifying, but I'll be covering this as well because you know what this is headed towards, right? The science of aging, anti-aging, of course, this is going to normalize things like blood libels, okay, all sorts of things involving, that red liquid that they love so much, and of course, transhumanism. Because remember, these are the same people for years at the World Economic Forum in Davos have told us over and over again about being inside of your body, being under your skin. That's what they're talking about, right? So this says, join the session to discover the latest breakthroughs in disease prevention and the science of reverse aging, okay? Live forever, common theme. They continually are beating this into people's heads without them realizing it. Fear of death is something we see over and over again, right? Everybody fears death, even though if you are saved through the blood of Christ, you do not need to fear death at all. In fact, this is just the beginning here. Our life and eternity that we have through the salvation in Christ is coming, right? But they have even Christians fearing death. Number two, the other thing, of course, is how you look, right? We saw these alien robots on television with Botox that don't realize they look like they got beaten over the head with a frying pan, right? Slapped across the face. They don't even look human. They have continually beaten this into people's minds about anti-aging, reversing aging, aging cream, aging this. We don't want to age anymore. It's bad to age. Don't want to age. You're 50, but you feel 30, et cetera, et cetera. This has to do with transhumanism and my belief of the mark of the beast, which will be manipulating your genetic code, which will not make you a human being anymore. God all gave us specific, unique DNA to ourselves, right? That's what we see with these crime shows, right? There was, the genetic profile, can't make it up. Everyone's got their own. Well, that's what God gave all of us, and that's what they ultimately want, is to be able to manipulate, get inside our bodies, and change us from what God created into what they're trying to replicate and pretty much invert. So those are just some things on the agenda this year. No big deal, right? Massive cyber attack warning. Talking about anti-aging, with all the crap going on in the world, that's really important, right? Anti-aging. I mean, nobody sees it. Nobody connects the dots. Climate change, dangers of AI, and of course, again, telling us about cyber attacks. So this is what's going on this year. And I wouldn't be surprised, like I said earlier, maybe not this year, maybe next year, but it seems like this would be a better year for them to have some type of false flag around Davos. You'll hear stuff because people, that's the thing, the alt-right media is allowed to go there. Then they pretend like they're patriots outside and nobody will talk to them. They can't get in. This is done by design. They're flying them into these places. If these people were threats to them, they would whack them and nobody would care. When you hear about some of these people who really get whacked, you're like, oh, so-and-so just disappeared or whatever. Well, then you say, oh, maybe there was some truth to whatever they were trying to do, right? We all remember the guy who was making the documentary. I can't say the name of the documentary, but was whacked, his whole family, right? People, oh, what happened to him, right? But all these other people, it seems like, okay, and you might say, well, what about you? Well, I don't really matter, do I? They whack me in a different way. They whack my audience, right? So then they say, well, this guy can't really contribute anything because we won't let anyone listen to him. So he could sit there and scream at the cloud. He could be the old man in the cloud meme. And that's pretty much what they turn me into, right? But other people, they go there. If I went there, I probably would eventually get whacked, if not whacked the second the plane landed in Switzerland, okay? So you'll see some stuff. At least you'll see that around the event. It'll be some type of MAGA supporter, Trump supporter, conspiracy nut, and they continue to gaslight the people with this type of stuff to turn us into the new terrorists, the people who question the globalist government and the enslavement that is coming. And no one out there will even realize they're enslaved because they're living in a dystopian reality. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always, and your families.